Hello and welcome back to the Pokemon TCG special event from Utrecht in the Netherlands. My name is Ross Gilbert and I'm delighted to be back to finish my conversation with the wonderful Philip Schulz. Now, I was looking for your Limitless profile earlier, looking at kind of the tournaments you've had success in the past, and there's a bit of a trend there. You've been playing Garbodor plus stuff, Zoroark plus stuff, Arceus plus stuff, and really kind of taking a core Pokemon like Garbodor, like Zoroark, like Arceus, and then building around that. Is that something you consciously do? Something that is it a real trend of your playing, or is it more just trying to find the strongest deck for the particular tournaments?
Yeah, it's interesting that you mentioned it, but I would say it's completely coincident. I don't really have a playstyle that I stick to, but I'm a player that actually it's like the complete opposite. I try out everything there is. So I even play a lot of control in my testing to just try it out if it's good. Actually, fun fact, the strongest deck I've ever played was a control deck. So I always try to try everything, see which options there are. I also build a lot of non-meta decks, but I don't limit myself to saying I want to play a particular thing. I just go in with whatever I think gives me the best odds of winning. If that happens to be Garbodor, and it's probably gonna be a strong deck for a long while. So I'll often stick to that, but I always try to find the best option, the best partner. So oftentimes with Zoroark, I think it was the best example where the partner changed from every tournament, and with almost every tournament a new partner came in to counter the meta from the previous one.
And let's not forget Oceania back in 2018, you turned up with I believe it was Zoroark with Gardevoir, which nobody saw coming. That was a really unexpected deck. You took third place at that tournament, so that was a particularly good finish. But I've got to ask the question, what was this most powerful deck you've ever played, the strongest deck you've ever played? Don't leave us hanging.
Yeah, it was a straight Seismitoad at the European Challenge Cup in 2016. And it was this really cool deck because Seismitoad was always played with a partner, but I was yeah, you know what? No one plays grass Pokemon, so you don't really need a partner. You can just play Seismitoad. And I put in a ton of control stuff to disrupt my opponent, and there was quite strong healing in the format. So by just removing your opponent's energies, preventing them from playing items, and then having healing as well, your Seismitoad basically became completely untouchable. And at this point you only needed one supporter that shovels your cards back into your deck, and then the opponent would go deck out. And and Seismitoad only does 30 damage, so oftentimes you would win by deck out first before drawing all your prize, just because you have to attack 100 times.
No, that makes perfect sense. I want to finish off with one last question then. And I think it's something you touched on in an interview earlier, but I got to ask you, you're a phenomenal player, right? You won, I believe you won Bremen Regionals last format, you won Harrogate Regionals with a weird Gyarados deck. A couple of years ago, we talked about your third place finish at an international championship. You're clearly one of the strongest players in Europe and have been for many years. But so is your brother. So does that motivate you to kind of be a bit better? Does that just give you a really good testing partner? How does that work, having a brother who is a top player just like yourself?
I think it's not really the rivalry, it's more how big of a part Pokemon is in one's life. If you have a brother, we used to live together for a long time, so if you have a brother that also plays Pokemon, you wake up, you go to eat breakfast, and on the breakfast table, what do you talk about? Well, which deck are we going to play next? What are we going to do? How are we going to improve this problem or that? And so Pokemon was just this consistent part. I mean, it still is this huge part of my life, but especially living with my brother, it was this consistent part of everyday talk, bouncing off ideas, talking about it. And so having it in the very center of our daily lives just, made us naturally pretty good at it, I guess.
And I think, pretty good at it is somewhat of an understatement. Well, thank you very much for taking the time. Good luck in the tournament tomorrow. And don't go anywhere, there's plenty more wonderful coverage coming all weekend.